Fascinating discussion with Michael Tellinger as we talk about some of his work, Temples of the African Gods, his latest work, as we also talk about the Annunaki. More to come in a moment on Coast to Coast AM. Michael, I'm very spiritual. Some of the things we'll be talking about tonight, some may think that we're conflicting with the Bible. I don't think it does. I think the Bible truly is a remarkable book, and that it's subject to interpretation. It's subject to trying to decipher what it meant at that particular time. With that being said, let's talk about the flood during Noah's era that you mentioned some time ago. You know, the Bible would say it was God's way of cleansing the planet, getting rid of evil, and, you know, he saved Noah and a small group of people and some animals. Yeah. I am wondering if Noah was tipped off by, let's say, the Anunnaki, who took off for some reason, and was the flood caused, for example, by an asteroid that hit the planet and caused a massive tsunami, for example. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The flood, which is now generally accepted by meteorologists and geologists and historians and so forth, seem to have happened around 13,000 years ago, give or take a few hundred years either way. But whatever is said, there was a huge geophysical event that happened at that stage. It may also link up with the work of Paul Laviolette and the giant pressure waves that come from the center of the galaxy and all these things. But so there's a numerous scientific and cosmological events that could have contributed to this event. But I think primarily it would have been probably caused by the coming into very close proximity of planet Earth of a very large celestial body, whether it was another planet like the Sumerian Nibiru, or the Anunnaki's Nibiru, or a giant comet, or something like that. But it definitely caused huge geophysical disturbances, which, according to the Sumerian tablets, caused the entire Antarctic ice sheet to slip into the ocean. And that was the real main cause for the giant wave or the flood that destroyed the planet. And that is a huge, huge realization, because this entire discovery of ours here in South Africa shows evidence of such a flood. And that is the most exciting link that we've made, and why this very vast ancient civilization just vanished out of sight. I believe that it's because of the flood 13,000 years ago, and we can see the sediment on the ruins, meters and meters, sometimes 20, maybe even 30 meters of sediment that has been settled, but deposited on these ancient cities down here. We can also see it, especially in the valley below Adam's calendar, where we incidentally also have pyramids. I believe they're the first pyramids ever built on Earth, Enki's pyramids. There are 3 pyramids, 2 large ones and 1 smaller one, just like in the pyramids in Giza. And they are directly aligned with the rise of Orion's belt. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, exactly.
So it starts to really link up everything we see down here, the structures, the sphinxes, the Horus stones that we found, the pyramids that we found, all linked to Adam's calendar, are also linked to all the symbols that we find much later in northern civilizations. But all of this was destroyed, I believe, by the flood some 13,000 years ago, which the Anunnaki knew about. They knew the flood was going to happen because they realized that this giant celestial body was going to cause geophysical disturbances. At that stage, the Sumerian tablets tell us they were going to allow the flood to basically destroy the planet because the population of humans has just grown out of control, and they needed to pretty much wipe them out, allow the flood to do its natural thing. But as you said, it seems like Enki was the creator of this whole new species, Homo sapien. He told 1 or 2 of the characters down here how to survive, gave them instructions how to build a submersible boat, because you couldn't just have a boat, it would have to be submersible. and they survived. And they went, and he gave them instructions how to collect the essence of the animals and the seeds and the plants, essence of the plants and the animals, not the animals themselves. I mean, you can very quickly figure out that it's not going to be possible to bring animals 2 by 2 onto a boat, you know. So clearly, Enki realized that there was this huge catastrophe looming, and
right.
he wanted to create some sort of a vault of seeds and DNA to repopulate the planet after the disaster.
Which is what they're doing now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We were talking before the break. We were talking about the numbers of these ruins.
Yeah.
And we didn't quite get to the real aha moment, because once I realized that there were about 100,000 of these, and then suddenly, a few months later, my estimate went up to 200,000. Before I published and released Temples of the African Gods, incidentally, that book will be in the United States and the UK in May this year, and next month. It'll be available next month.
So we're ahead of the game here, aren't we?
Yeah. Once I realized, before I went to print on the book, I thought, I can't just thumbsuck a number, because that's what everybody else has been doing. And I want to be slightly more scientific about it. And with the benefit of aerial photography and satellite photography, you can do be a lot more specific and accurate. And remember that I've been walking these mountains and these ruins for a number of years now. So it's only once you've been at the ruins on ground level and you know what they look like on the ground, and then you look at the satellite photographs and you see what that area looks like from satellite, then you can suddenly compute, okay, that's what it looks like from the satellite pictures. Now you can start extrapolating that and looking at other areas and seeing where you see the same formations.
Precisely.
And that's when suddenly the lights went on for me, and I discovered what I now call the 3 lost ancient cities. One is in the area that I live in, which is near Watervalboven in Mpumalanga. That's where it really is thick and dense. Then the other one is near Rustenburg, where I actually went to school, which also incorporates the Sun City, the holiday resorts of Sun City, where they play the golf tournament every year.
Sure.
They built the Palace of the Lost City there accidentally on the ancient civilizations. They're not even aware of this.
That's amazing.
There's another lost city there. And then there's the other one, which incorporates Great Zimbabwe and the large area around it. Now, each one of those cities, those lost, vanished cities, is probably about 10,000 square kilometers. So it's about 100 by 100 kilometers, so 60 by 60 miles.
Huge.
So if you compare that to the size of LA or London, it's a lot bigger than any of
and
those.
These were all ancient gold mining sites as well? These 3 sites? Okay.
Exactly. And then I started counting on Google and on satellite how many of these there are. And I estimate that there are at least 3 million of these stone ruins per lost city.
Let me ask you this, Michael. Let's just toss out for a moment the Annunaki theory, which I think is the most plausible. But let's just toss that out. How old are these ruins? What do you think?
Our dating is going back to about 280,000, 300,000 years, around there. The fascinating thing is that, George, it's what we've done. There's so much ground to cover here that it's just like I'm sort of gasping for air, trying to know, okay, where should I go next?
God, I mean, it's just incredible.
With the stone tools, remember, we've now uncovered a completely different class and a type of stone tool that is directly linked to these stone structures and these settlements. And they're completely different from any other stone tools. In fact, when I started collecting these tools and showing them to archaeologists, they told me I was stupid, I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm wasting my time. And we've realized now that this is a whole new class of stone tools that has never been recognized before. And we've got them by the thousands.
What do they look like?
They are a very conical kind of stone, a stone that's been shaped into a very conical, like an ice cream cone almost. It's rounded at the top with a slight edge on the one side and then comes down to a point on the other side. And this is just a repetition of this particular stone tool. What they used it for, I have no idea. But what we do know is that they were not carved or chipped. They were molded. And that's what makes them so unique.